Hey guys, welcome to my tutorial. This is how to create mouth lip sync. So what I do in my strategy is, let's say I have my guy. This is my guy. And I want him to talk, right? So I can just draw on a mouth, but then wait, if there's like how it's I need to sync the lips. So basically what I do is I create a mouth. So ignore that. I create the mouth. I convert it into a symbol, okay? And it's a graphic symbol, and we will call it mouths. And basically, let me just fill this white here. You can't really see it, but actually, you actually can see it. But now it's a thing, and I can like move it independently and give it its own like it, you know, and I can change the scaling point thing. I don't know what this is called. I can change it. It changes. But let's say okay, so here's where we're gonna store all of our mouth symbols. So let's say I want to make another mouth. It's just a closed mouth. I can do that right here. Typically, you want to make it so that the closed mouth is slightly raised above your open mouths, or your teeth mouths, whatever, because then it'll create more of a bouncy feel. But let me just that's fine. I don't care. And then so now we have a closed mouth and a teeth mouth. Now if we go and test this out, I can so basically what we're going to use is the if you click this, it's frame picker, and you can set it to a single frame, so it can only it only shows the frame that you select. But basically I can do this. I can create a keyframe here and pick the mouth. I have a shortcut little thing here, so I can open the frame picker. But if I do this, as you can see, it changes back. And let's say I want to change it back to the teeth mouth. I can create another keyframe and do the same thing. And now this might be so. Now he's like I don't know what sound. If I add an O mouth, I can just do this. So this is kind of like my awesome art style. But if I bow, look, now he's saying bow. What if I want him to say bounce though? So I can add an extra. I can add hang on, I might want to preview all my things. I want to make the open mouth even like longer and lower down than the teeth mouth. So I can go like this. I don't know what. How do I draw? I can just do that. Create a good tongue. I use this color, by the way. It's if I create this little A and E mouth, it's so it's bow. But well, it looks more like an E mouth, but I can change that. Squash and stretch is a principle of animation. Basically, what I do is I make it so that the lower the mouth is, the more squished, but also the more tall it is. So now it's I want to keep it so that the mouths are kind of centered around this area, right? Because it's kind of how it works in real life. also kind of want these all to share a point, right? So it's like, you see how, so this line, and this line have points right here. I don't really care about the O mouth right now. That's just kind of how I draw them. I can move it down a little and change it whenever, but now I have a few mouths here. Bow, look. Bounce, boom. I don't know if you caught that. But the best part of this technique is that you can edit, you can like make it squish. This doesn't help me. If I change this there, look, I push that keyframe back and replace the other one. So now that it's the M mouth the whole way through, and the B mouth and the P mouth, it makes a bunch of sounds. But if I want to sort of transition this mouth into this mouth, well, I have a solution for you. I can skew it and maybe even move it down a little, and see that little in between it creates. Now it's like, bah. I don't think that really changes the sound much actually, but you can create another keyframe before. Doesn't really matter how many frames. Well, I guess it really does actually, but yeah. And I want it to kind of ease into this movement, right? Because it's like a B sound. It's like bah, like it's really bouncy. But I can change it so that it eases in. Cubic is, generally what I use for mouth movements, but see, look, bounce. It kind of leads in. So if I want to transition to the O mouth, since it's kind of over here, look, I can sort of shrink it, maybe even skew it a little. And I add an easing. I want it to ease out, right? Because since it's a bouncy sound here, I want us to have more time on this than this, because otherwise it'll be like boo, instead of like bow. You know what I mean? I can move it down for more impact, and that creates, see, I can also move this frame down so it leads into it better. I can do bounce. Notice I can move this up for even more of a little circular kind of mouth movement, which is generally good for animation because arcs is a principle of animation and it's important. But I want this frame to lead into this, so maybe I can like stretch it. So maybe I can stretch it this way a little, and like make it, squish a little, so that because squash and stretch. But bounce. See, I don't know if it might be a little hard to see, but we've already created something pretty wonderful here. Bounce. I don't like this little movement here. So I can adjust it once again with my, so I can adjust it by selecting the keyframe frame, and I can do a cubic ease in, bounce. Now it's like bounce. I can do something pretty crazy. I can skew it kind of into the movement, and then I can sort of notice how it's like bounce. See, look at that. That's like, it like squishes for the S. Maybe I even want to move this keyframe closer so it's a more sudden movement, but. And then I can set it to ease out because it's a sudden movement. So it happens really fast, right? Bounce. 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 See, look at that. See, look at that. See, look at that. now I have the guy talking symbol, and you can see, you can even preview it, bounce, it's still there, and I can have him move. If you really want to emphasize a movement or a sound, you can kind of pop the character out for as long as they're saying a word. So let's say I make it like kind of, this guy's kind of skewing out a little bit, you know, bounce, bounce, you see that? And I can, since it's a sudden, it's like a punchy movement, I can make it an ease out. I'll go with a back movement, bounce. See, look at that. I can even have him kind of ease into it. So if I reduce my onion skin here, that's what that's called, in case you, I can kind of, and then I can make this a little, and then see, now he's really leaning out there because it's a really important movement. You know, he's saying a word. Maybe he really wants to say it, he's really excited, but I can do a cubic ease in to make it a little more. There's like more of a kind of like lead in. You know what I mean. Bounce, bounce, bounce. This is my beautiful animation. This is my tutorial. I hope you enjoy. Hang on. This is the brush I use, by the way, in case you want to copy it. I use this square. I have these are my settings. Zoom size with stage is really important, by the way. Or wait, no. Scale. These are all pretty important. Pressure is also really important because I'm using a drawing tablet. So here are my symbols. I have the mouth. This is just to like kind of store all the frames that I use in the actual animation, which is stored in here, and then I improve upon it more in here. It's kind of like, you know, it's nesting. You know, it's pretty neat. If you want more tutorials, comment down below. I want more tutorials. Please.